Hello, yogis. Was that weird? Was that creepy? I don't care. I got your attention. Hi, I am here today to give you reasons to modify in your yoga practice, why it's good for you, why you should be doing it, and chances are you probably should be doing it if you aren't already in your yoga practice. I'm going to show you a couple ways, specifically 3 poses in which a yoga block or 2 yoga blocks are very useful to deepen your stretches, deepen your strengthening, and just overall get your awareness into your body. My name is Rachel Watkins. I'm here at the Fit Factor studio in Alhambra, California. It's a beautiful day outside today, and I hope these tips help you. Please join me in my class on Thursdays at 6 p.m. I teach a vinyasa class, and starting next month, I'll be teaching the flexibility and flow class at 7 a.m. on Thursdays. So join me for some flowy Thursdays. Let's get right into it. So what is modifying? Why do we use a block? What is all this stuff you're talking about, Rachel? So a modification really just means your body has different needs in a pose, or maybe is not as flexible or as strong yet to fully practice a pose, and therefore you might need to change some things, whether that's with a prop or without a prop. And modifying can either be, making the pose a little bit simpler to meet your body's needs, or it can also mean making a pose deeper and harder and forcing you to work a little bit harder. A common misconception when it comes to modifications, or like using a block or a yoga strap or a bolster or a blanket, is that I'm weak, I suck, I'm not flexible, I'm not strong enough, like I don't want to use the block, that's bad. And that's not true. If you can get comfortable with using props, you will actually deepen your practice, and you'll actually have a much better understanding of what each pose requires from your body, and you'll even be able to reap more of the benefits from a pose, from the more advanced poses to the more simple poses. And so I don't want anyone in my classes especially to ever be afraid to use a block or use you can use a towel to replace a strap, but those are there to help you deepen your practice. They don't mean you're weak, they don't mean you suck, they don't mean that you shouldn't be doing yoga. They simply are there to help you, help you get deeper into the pose. So I'm going to give you 3 poses that I encourage you to use a block in if you're not already, unless you're a 30-year practicing yogi and I don't know, you're a yoga master, then maybe you don't need these things. But for most people, myself included, I've been practicing yoga for about 5 or 6 years, and I still use blocks in these poses. I suggest you use them to help you get deeper into the muscles, into body awareness. So let's just jump right in. So pose 1 is Uttanasana, and I'm going to back up for a moment so you can see my full body. And so Uttanasana is a standing forward fold, and I'm going to give you some key alignment points. So when you're in a forward fold, you generally have your feet hip width distance is what I prefer. I'm a little bit tighter in my hips. However, some people do like to practice with their feet touching. So feet parallel, about hip width distance apart. Next thing, let's move up our foundation. You're working towards straight legs. So when you're in a forward fold, let's see if you can get my full body. If your legs are bent, you probably need a prop, or you probably need to modify the pose because you are working towards straight legs. And then the next alignment point is going to be your spine. You want it long and neutral. You want to maintain all the neutral curves in your spine. So oftentimes, you'll see, especially someone who has tight hamstrings or tight lower back muscles, you'll see this sort of hunch in the upper back, and that is not only painful, but it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous on your neck, it can cause more pain in the low back, and you're actually not benefiting your body, and you're not getting the deepest and fullest expression of the pose if you have this big giant curve in your back. So feet are parallel, legs straight. Another key point, hips over the heels. and neutral spine. So as you can see, I'm a little bit more flexible than maybe those who like are running a lot. Running can really give you tight hamstrings, or those who just don't stretch enough. So it's pretty easy for me to touch the floor. So you want to be able to touch the ground. If you cannot do those things, if you cannot keep your legs straight, if you cannot maintain a long, healthy, neutral spine, and if you cannot touch the ground, I suggest taking 2 blocks. You're going to place them right in front of you on any height. As you can see, they have multiple heights that you can use. So some people may be here. And this is great because this means you can get the length in your spine, and then you can work towards going deeper, getting a deeper stretch. But you want to have straight legs, lengthen the spine, and then move forward. So, you can use these blocks in any of these heights. Okay? Next pose is going to be Utthita Parsvakonasana, which is extended side angle. So, put these over here. Let me make sure you can see my full body. So I'm going to come into warrior 2 legs. So deep from within my right hip socket, I'm going to turn my femur bone and the rest of my leg out. So now my toes are pointing out. I'm going to turn my back toes in slightly, front heel to back arch alignment. I'm going to bend this front knee. I might have to widen. You want a pretty wide stance in warrior 2. I might have to widen it a little bit. I'm also not super warm right now, so my hips are definitely feeling this, and so are my inner thighs. So here, there's a couple ways to do. This is one way to modify Utthita Parsvakonasana, or extended side angle. It's just placing the elbow on the thigh. So my key alignment points in this pose are going to be making sure this knee tracks directly over the ankle. And if it goes past, or if it's off to the left or off to the right, you're at risk for injuring your knee and just other parts of your body like your thighs. So foundation first, I have my heel to arch alignment, I have my knee stacked over my ankle. You want the outer front hip to be hugging in towards the midline. So if you ever see, and it's probably hard to see on this camera, but if you ever notice yourself sticking your butt way out, you're not doing the pose. You want to work that outer thigh in. You're aiming towards neutralizing the hips towards the long edge of the mat. Imagine my mat's here. All right, and then in this pose particularly, you want same thing, long, neutral spine, lots of length through the torso, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. So you can always come here, or since today we're discussing how to use a block, you can place a block in front of the leg, yeah, or behind the leg. And the reason we use a block is if, let's say, you decide not to use it, so now I'm down here, and, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see me. My back, my torso, these upper ribs are now rounding down. In Parsva, I get them confused a lot. In extended side angle, you want your shoulders opening up towards the ceiling. If ever you catch your shoulder or your ribs caving in, use a block. And you can even use this front arm to press against this front leg, getting an even deeper stretch through this inner right thigh. It helps you maintain length through the torso. But if you catch yourself hunching, if you catch your knee out of alignment, your butt is sticking out, I definitely suggest using a block. You can place it on the inside or the outside, either way, but moving the hips forward, shoulders back, opening up the chest, yeah? And then that brings us to our next pose, our third and final pose that I'll discuss today. Sorry if it's a lot of information, but I feel like these things I'm telling you will actually give you a deeper understanding of what you should be thriving for in a pose. Of course, it's not about the outcome, it's not about how you look, it is about the journey, it's about what you learn on the way there. So I'm so excited that I'm helping you on this journey. So our next pose, so I'm going to keep my feet about the same. Yeah, super wide. I'm going to start hinging my hips back towards the back leg, I'm trying to maintain long, healthy, neutral spine. So starting from foundation, working our way up, same feet, heel to arch alignment. This time this front leg is straight. This is Utthita Trikonasana, or triangle pose. So here, same thing. It's very easy for people to close off this front rib, close off the shoulders, their butt starts to stick out, their legs are not straight. And even though you can have a micro bend in this front knee, that usually probably means you need to use a block. You can also, another modification is to just come to the shin and do this way. But most of the same actions as in extended side angle. Hugging that outer hip in and under you, finding length all the way from the tailbone through the crown of the head, trying to open up the shoulders, trying to keep the hips open. It's almost like you're between two panes of glass. And then, like I said, you can always have the block here to help you maintain that length. Because here, not only can I not straighten my front leg, which is crucial in this pose, my torso is closed off and I already feel my butt sticking back behind me. So, with all of that being said, I hope this was helpful for you. These are all poses that we do in my class on Thursdays, and oftentimes I usually don't give the option not to use a block. I usually encourage everyone in my class to use it, and you can see for yourself, you'll feel better. I think you'll have more awareness of what's going on in your body when you have the help of a prop. And even though it may feel like it's a crutch, or maybe it feels like you just have to use it because you're weak or not flexible yet, that's not true. It's actually helping you get to that point where you are flexible enough. Because if you go into a pose, if you rush into a pose that maybe you're not ready for, that's how you injure yourself. And you can even build muscle strength and flexibility in the places you don't want, like in your tendon, like you don't want to overstretch your tendons, you don't want to overstretch the connective tissue. So using props really gets you into the muscles, muscle engagement, proper alignment of the bones. You always want to stack your bones instead of relying on the joints to hold you up. So if you have any questions regarding these tips I gave you today, please you can leave a comment. You can find me on Instagram. You can find the Fit Factor on Instagram, Facebook, all of that fun stuff. And I look forward to doing my next Facebook Live video. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I have a couple ideas, but I'll leave it a surprise for you guys. And I hope to see you in my class, 6 p.m. on Thursdays. Once again, my name is Rachel, here at the Fit Factor Studio in Alhambra. I feel like I don't know any puns to you, I don't know. I wish I was better at jokes. I would make a fun pun joke right now. Anyways, thank you guys. Have a wonderful Thursday. Have a great weekend. Go outside and enjoy the weather. And I hope I see you guys very soon. Bye. Adios.